to me, the most rewarding content is like not only just planning it out and having an intent, but like really executing the purpose.
Hey y'all, DFOS here. My mission with this Limitless Theory 360 podcast is to connect you with the very people that have positively impacted my life and will continue to do the same for thousands of others by providing education-based, actionable techniques that allow you to create a limitless perspective on life.
3, 2, 1. So today, my guest is someone I've known for quite a few years now. It's actually fast how time is flying by. I think we met freshman year of college. He is the one and only behind the LT animation that y'all see every time I post a video. And he is the go-to content creator for anything filmmaking, videography, and animation. My guest today is Greg Camillone. He's a good guy. How we doing today, Greg?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's early, so I know we're both a little trying to get the energy up, but that's all right. I think that's a good place to maybe even jump into quick is like the fact that we're willing to wake up at 7:30 on a Sunday and do a podcast is that just alludes to our mindset a little bit and alludes to your willingness to go out and get it, which I love. And then speaking of that stuff, so we haven't talked in a couple weeks probably. What is it that you're focusing on right now? What is it that you're doing with your time?
Yep. So throughout the year, I'm actually working towards earning my master's degree. I go to Southern Illinois University. I'm a graduate assistant there, and I do help out with all the video work in the athletic department. So that's creating content featuring the student athletes. And then we also do the live production for all of our home sporting events that go on ESPN3 and Plus. However, my assistantship doesn't go through the summer. So I'm home in New York, freelancing, testing the waters, seeing how I can reach clients on my own, work on my own, and just see what that experience is like, kind of stepping out of my comfort zone. And so far it's really been rewarding, just working with a lot of different people, even if it's just chatting and consulting. It really kind of brings out a different side of me as far as not only selling myself, but dealing with other people. And like, you kind of learn how to not just use your creative ideas, but you're also collaborating with other people's creative ideas who aren't always necessarily your own. So like that's a lesson in yourself, or in itself. And then also just getting to practice what I love doing every day is rewarding in itself too.
I was just going to say that's a reward. But did your mom tell you not to sell yourself? I feel like that's you shouldn't do.
Right? If anything, she probably tells me to sell myself more, just because I enjoy it so much. I wish I could do it for free and just get a bunch of people to say yes, yes, yes. Digitally, even though it's been around for quite a bit, it's constantly still growing, and people are still learning the impacts of photography and video work and what it can do for your business on social media or just the various platforms that it can be spread. So sometimes just the cost of that can be intimidating. The cost of technology is really intimidating. So it's just interesting to find that balance, especially since this is my first time kind of going on my own, something where like I can pay myself back, but also meet the budget of like a small business.
Okay, I got you.
So just between the wear and tear on your equipment, but also like the labor and work time that you put into it is an interesting balance to make.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. You're definitely learning a ton by trying it on your own, which is awesome because most people don't have the cojones to really try that, which is cool. It's actually motivating me to look into starting to do all of my own work, whether you know that or not. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
What are some of like the coolest projects or people you're working with right now? What's something?
So and this kind of goes back to what I was saying about selling yourself. Even though I know of a lot of different small businesses and whatnot, um, they're not necessarily going to reach out to me. So I knew it was going to be a lot of cold emailing and messaging and just calling, texting, whatnot. And there's these group of guys that I played basketball against in high school. They all moved on to play college basketball, and one of them was actually able to make it to the NBA, which is fantastic. Represent the Hudson Valley.
Yeah.
And he was home for the summer for a little bit, and they started their own basketball training and basketball camps. They actually started it last year, and I remember seeing it on social media, and I thought that was great because, obviously they're successful basketball players, and the fact that they're giving back to the local community, I think that's awesome. There's not much of that around here. So back in, I'd probably say April, I went on their website and found their company email address and basically messaged them, used my leverage saying like, hey, I played you guys in high school basketball. Like, do you remember me? I remember you.
Yeah.
And they pretty much got back to me within the same day and greatly appreciated the fact that I reached out. We did a trial run. So I went to one of their training sessions. They had a couple male basketball players working out. I filmed it and made them like a 45-second social media promo-like video, and they absolutely loved it. They brought me back, and the NBA player had like this free workout, and really any kid from the local community, like no matter what age level or skill level you are, they invited you to an open gym, and they asked me to come film it and take some photos for them. So I went and did that, and it was a blast. And it was very, very warming just to see like a guy who's made it to the professional level, and he still is like so willing to help out kids that are, look up to him now, and he's a role model to all these local kids, and he just comes back and doesn't think twice of just hosting a free open gym just for kids to hang out with him alone. So that's probably the most exciting because, one, I love basketball, and two, it's all like good things that they're doing.
Yeah, that's how we met initially.
Oh yeah. Shooting hoops, baby.
Yo, do you remember the I think it was one of the 6 a.m. workouts where
the pull-up competition? Yes, I remember.
Yeah, me and you had to do the pull-up competition. We were definitely the two smallest people there.
Oh yeah, I think that's why we were selected. Cause I remember at least that's what my team told me. They're like, "You're the lightest. You got to do it."
Definitely, we were one of only a couple freshmen that looked like freshmen.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I weighed I think my weight was 137 when we took our physicals, and I was like,
I was probably 150, but that's because I'm a couple inches taller than you. So like that's really that's all it was. That wasn't anything.
I work out. I'm athletic, but I was not a grown man. That's for sure.
Dude, there were some kids there that were 17. There was
100 pounds of muscle.
18, 19. Yeah. They're easily, $195 with, probably 15% body fat.
No, there's a lot of good talent in that tryout, or that year at least.
Team was terrible, but whatever. So then, what do you have on your wall behind you? Speaking of basketball.
Oh yeah,
I'm trying to see some of those pictures up there.
Yeah, I have all you can see half of it, but I have all the NBA pennants for each team. I had some trading cards that I bought this when I was a little kid, like a huge combo pack or whatever.
Yeah.
So some of the players that I actually thought were cool, or maybe they were some retro cards. For some reason Anderson Varejao made the wall. I don't know why, but Sean Marion is up there, but mostly down the middle, the two big pictures are Dwayne Wade because that's my guy.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple Michael Jordan picture or cards, those little ones.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's pretty much it. The funny thing is, when I had bought these and set these up, I put them in conference rankings. So apparently the Heat were in first and the Knicks were in second. So
how things have changed.
Yeah, the Phoenix Suns were in last though, so that's
No,
consistent.
yep, that's
Um,
absolutely the way the cookie crumbles still.
and the Raptors were close to last too, so at least they've kind of climbed the ladder a bit. But
Yeah, dude, what did you think of all the
the
finals?
finals,
Yeah, that was
honestly, free agency hasn't even started yet, and it's more entertaining than the finals. But no, I was happy to see the Raptors win.
yeah,
Um,
it's good to get another face.
yeah, like I don't know, I'm not like a fan of anybody like, oh, I love watching them play, but stories like Fred VanVleet, who came from Wichita State and kind of like just wasn't a big name, and obviously showed out in the NBA Finals and even the second half of the playoffs. So you I like the stories, when people kind of come out and do things. Kawhi was definitely unrealistic that how he was playing
Crazy.
in the playoffs. The finals, he was good too, but
Yeah, prior
people
to
always,
the first couple series of the playoffs, he was just
yeah, like
unbelievable.
just a one man team.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It just people are always gonna throw out the speculation because Clay and KD were hurt, and I think that kind of has to do with what Kawhi's decision making is going on right now. Because
yeah,
I mean, even like say all teams are healthy and all teams stay the same exactly as it was this past year, like the Raptors aren't gonna win the next NBA Finals with the same squad.
no,
You know what I mean? So like, if anything, I could see the Bucks coming back and beating them in the East, which I thought they were going to beat them in the East. But yeah, it was good. It was something different, but I'm curious. I'm more interested in free agency right now.
yeah. Seriously, that starts tonight at what 6?
Yeah, yeah. I think today's the like official date that they can like do agreements.
So by the time this airs, everything is already going to be.
Yeah, what are they talking about?
Everything will already be done.
Kemba to the Celtics currently, so.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited for that. Actually,
Yeah, I love Kemba.
I would love
Can't.
to see that.
Happy he'll be more with a well-rounded team and coach.
Yeah, exactly. He deserves that after what he's done,
Yeah,
where he's come from.
he's from New York, so I'll root for him.
And he was a UConn
Oh yeah,
faithful, so get
Mhm.
back into the Northeast and just stay there.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
So I don't know if we've ever talked about going so far back. Where, like, when did your whole love for fitness and health and basketball kind of start? When, and where did you get into it? Because you have a strong passion for it, like very strong.
Yeah. I know. Why am I not a pro? No, I'm just kidding. um, gosh, I think basketball has just been like a life thing. Of course, my parents put me into sports when I was little, so I played soccer and basketball growing up, and as time went on, like basketball definitely carried over more than soccer. That's just what I was more interested in practicing. Like each day, like I was either at the park or practicing in my driveway, and definitely wasn't in the yard playing soccer as much. So, and I ended up like once high school came around, I definitely like got burnt out from soccer and invested in basketball like full time, played a year round. I remember when I was 10, I think that's when I first watched Dwayne Wade. So when you're a little kid, you're just like, oh, he's good. I like him. And then you just follow them the rest of your life. But no, I always thought he was a good person, a good role model. He didn't seem to get into much trouble outside of basketball. But yeah, I don't know. There was, of course, like the love for it is a huge part of it. But there's something, I guess, that goes with just having a purpose. At the time growing up, like you believe certain things when you're younger because you obviously know different things. But I was like so determined to play college basketball. So like that was my mindset. Like, oh, I'm only doing well in school because I want to get accepted to college and I want to play basketball, or like I want to get a scholarship, like that type of thing. So like there was certain goals, and that's what I was dedicated to. Like I could care less about like, hey, let's go hang out at the mall, or like let's go, party or do whatever once kids got older. I was more interested in watching film, or once I was in high school, I would have my parents like film on whatever device we had at the time, my games, and I would like bring it into my laptop and go on iMovie and make my own little highlight tapes.
Yay,
And put them on YouTube. Like I would like email coaches with the YouTube link, and just because I was from a small school, I knew like there really wasn't any sort of exposure there.
yeah.
So I knew it was kind of something where I kind of just had to make my own name for it. But yeah, it was just something that like I was invested in, and it never felt like, oh, this sucks, or like I just loved doing it. And I always was looking forward to practice. I would always go to the parks like after school and play. It was just kind of felt like an escape, I guess, and something I wanted to continue doing.
It's funny you say that, the escape part, because two things that caught my eye there or caught my ear, I guess you could say.
Here with your eyes.
Yeah. Was the passion and like purpose, like having that purpose. You know what I'm saying? What am I doing this for? Where do I see it down the road? Which I think is a big topic as we graduate college and people hit this like 22 to 24 range, and they're like, I don't have a purpose. Like, what's going on? Where I have to think of one. My purpose is to get out of school. Like, I don't know. So now, like, yeah, the ball's in our court to create a purpose for ourselves. So that's something I want to dive back into. But the other thing that you mentioned is that getting away. It's your getaway. For an hour a day at basketball practice, there's no other thoughts. It's something that I've struggled to transition into my fitness. I don't know if you have the same, because we both work out, we're both active, we're both doing, the things we need to do to stay balanced and whatnot. But for me, basketball is, I'm realizing this, like, as time progresses, basketball is still the thing that allows me to let go more than anything else.
Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. Same.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like with the gym, like I always call that me time when I go work out. And it's weird. Like sometimes it's like, oh, I love working out by myself. And other times it's like, oh, I love working out with someone else because they can spot you, or just, whatever. Sometimes it's nice to have company. And now that I'm back home, my brother recently like moved back home too, and he's getting married and moved back to New York. And we've been working out together. And it's strange because it's like I'm so used to working out by myself, and like you turn on your Spotify playlist or whatever, and I'm just so used to going. And now there's like someone talking to me. It's like, dude, no, like I need to get in this mindset, And I don't know, it's different. Like and of course I enjoy working out with my brother, and he's an athletic trainer, so he makes me do things that are more proper and whatnot. So it's all good. But it's funny because, like you said, like basketball is really that escape. Even though you can be around other people if you're playing pickup or whatever. Like when you're dribbling the ball or you're driving to the hoop or whatever, like you're not thinking of anything
Nothing else. No.
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely no comparison. Even with like the whole purpose thing, like when I like shoot for something or film for something, a lot of times it can be very easy to just kind of like almost wing it in a way where like, oh, like these are the shots I want to take, and like this is the vision I have for it, and then piece that together. But like to me, the most rewarding content is like not only just planning it out and having an intent, but like really executing the purpose of, all right, what is this going to do once it's done? So, if it's for a brand, then of course like promote the brand, or, express their mission statement. But like in 2017, when I had an internship at this place called New TV, they required me to make a documentary. And the first thing that came to mind was doing a documentary on the mental health of student athletes. And that like it just got, of course, it was warming to get a lot of positive feedback, but just the fact that like I was able to put something together that people don't really necessarily like to talk about, or kind of slide it under the covers to make it something not to talk about.
Yeah.
Because
That in
it's
itself is
vulnerable.
rewarding.
Yeah. So just to try to make it more of the norm. It's still something that I like to research and do stuff on as well as that topic, just because, I mean, we so easily forget that athletes are humans too that also have emotions. You know, they're not just trained to dribble a ball. So
I
I
think
think
I've
it's
heard that
important.
before.
Yeah, exactly.
Dribble the ball and shut up, right?
So I think it's very important just to try to be, show ways to be more understanding, show ways to develop more perspectives. I think, having various perspectives is a huge thing. And so creating content like that, it's definitely rewarding. Um, and again, it goes back to the purpose thing. Doing things with intent, I think, is more meaningful than just going about life.
Yeah, that's such a good point. It's something that, like I mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
people lose sight of, especially at our age. People get out into the real world and they never had to look past it because since they were 4 years old, before they could even remember anything,
Mm-hmm.
they were just told, do it and you'll get out, do it and you'll get out, do it and you'll get out. And then all of a sudden you're 6 stages into school and you're still not out, or maybe you just got out and now you're like, all right, the whole purpose of
Mm-hmm.
that was to get a job. But if a job is a quarter, a third, or maybe a quarter of my life, which is a whole nother topic. I will never be working for anybody like that. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if it's going to be a quarter of your life and what you do throughout your years and your time, you still have 3/4 of your life to live. So like you have to find a purpose outside of that.
Right.
You have to have a greater purpose. You have to have a purpose that is far beyond, waking up and going to clock in, or even in our instance, like waking up and doing um, our content or reaching out to those people. Like, where do we see that moving us to? Where does
Mm-hmm.
that progress forward? And like I always say, and part of the limitless theory is the fact that me and you in ourselves, uh, with the time that we have on this earth, we are not limitless. That's
Right.
like there's no way I can go do some things. But the fact that I strive to improve allows the next person who is following in my footsteps, or someone else alongside me, or a child in the future, can progress from that. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
it's an evolutionary constant uptick, and that's where I get the concept of limitless theory.
Mm-hmm.
There's something that will add, you take a step up, the next person can take another step.
Yep.
Same, generation wise, I think we are taking a massive step in two different directions. Some of us are absolutely moving in the direction of, let's move forward with things like mental health for student athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move forward with the LBGTQ. Let's move forward with, the lack of politics and religion being so close knit that you have no other vision other
Right.
than, and then you have the other side of the spectrum, which I won't allude to it all too much because I'll go on a rant, is just let's use the better drugs to get more effed up and end
Mm-hmm.
up in a worse spot and not have to deal with reality any more than I already have to.
Right.
And there's a million ways they go about that. It's not just drugs. It's not just alcohol. It's not just, but there's a, a clear split
Mm-hmm.
in our generation right now, and we have to try to continue to, almost in a tug of war sense, pull the rope to our side.
Right. kind of like going off what you mentioned about being limitless in your whole your theory and your outlook. It's this kind of like way I look at it, and it sounds a little wrong, but like it's okay. The way I go about it, it's like it's okay to be selfish. And so what I mean by that is like doing things that are good for you, and that that comes with eating healthy, that comes with exercising daily,
Mm-hmm.
doing just sometimes those little things where you like it's really not complicated, but you just kind of make some random excuse just not to do it. Like we all do it, it happens, but sometimes you're like, why wouldn't I want to go do that? Or why wouldn't I just get up and pick up the TV remote? Whatever the case may be, it's just like little things that you're allowed to, wash your face every night before you go to bed. Like little things that help you become better and healthier, but we just sometimes choose not to do it. Those are the things that I think like we kind of need to like think more about and give more attention to. So like that's how I think to myself. Like it's okay to like think selfish, like do things that are good for you, like take those risks or those job opportunities that like may help you improve or like lead you towards those ideal jobs that you would eventually want. And then I think also while doing that, the more you do stuff that's good for you, the better you're going to feel. So like the reason why I like to dedicate myself to something is because it feels good to achieve something. That's just how I personally feel. Even like as far as fitness goes, I go to the gym, one, because mentally it's good. Like I said before, it's kind of like my me time. But then two, like I can also feel good about myself. So if I think I look good, then I'm going to be in a better mood than if I'm like, dang, I need to lose 30 pounds or whatever. Like that's not going to make me happy. So I think, it's like a full circle. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you do good.
Yeah, which is why I'm naming this podcast the LT360 podcast. Because I'm coming at it from so many different perspectives and views and having so many different types of conversations with so many different types of people. It's you're really gonna, my goal is to create that illusion, not illusion, that vision of one leads to the next and it leads back to the first, and it all comes together. And, I think it's obviously ignorance is bliss, and people love to not do what they should for so many reasons. And I think the fact that we have exposure to all these people living these unbelievable lives and lifestyles because of the amount of money they've made and have and stuff that people were never exposed to before. It's all unprecedented. So we have this sense of, well, they're doing it, so why can't I? And it's like we're all evolving at a different pace. We're all moving through time differently. And, their family may be a couple years ahead of you, but if you continue to get better, your grandkids can be where they are, like that's the mindset that people are lacking to cultivate right now. On a mass scale, there's thousands, millions of people actually out there that understand that concept, but we have to make that the norm. We have to make that the understanding for general population, so that as a society and as a species, I mean, we're a lot more than just a society, right? Like there's so many things that humans are doing that as a species that need to change, which is a whole different topic. But it all starts with taking me time. Right. That one ripple effect in the water, that one drop of water causes energy to flow into the next one. So, sorry,
go ahead.
No, go for it.
Going off what you were saying earlier, like one thing that I've also kind of told myself, and I do a little blog, so I try to express in that too, is kind of like to believe in something. So whether it's, you believe in God, destiny, faith, everything happens for a reason, whatever type of motto, belief, just believe in something. So that way you kind of can give yourself that reassurance. Because I don't think if you necessarily believe in something, you're causing any sort of fake illusion. I think it just gives you that sort of motivation and reinsurance that like things will be okay. And like you said earlier, we're all on our own path. So like this is the path that's meant to happen. Like if you're putting in the effort and the work, like you're gonna end up where you're supposed to be. And sometimes where we end up isn't what our intentions might have been or what we had hoped for, but I think ultimately it kind of ends up being what's best for us, or necessarily meant for us, because I think we can always keep growing. So I don't think, like you said, life's limitless. We don't have like a cap at the point. Like it's like, oh, this is the point. I'm good. Like, you know, like I think we can always improve. We can always learn more. So I think that's what like social media can easily take away from us sometimes is, you know, like you said, you can see some 20-year-old and they're viral and it's like, what? Like they're famous and they have all these millions of followers, and for what? They post pictures of themselves all the time. Like I want to do that, you know? But I think, you know, people don't necessarily always post the bad on social media. They don't post the long hours of work they put to get to where they are. You know, there's this delusion of, you know, it's everything's great, and kind of like easy and immediate, when really the journey is what's valuable. So I don't think that's what should be rushed. And I think so, like I do it too. Like social media makes me impatient sometimes. It's like, oh, I want to, you know, I want my content to look like that, or I want to, you know, be creating content for this brand, like, etc. But, you know, at the same time, like sometimes I shoot and it's like, oh, like, you know, that was great. Like I kind of felt myself learning something new today. Or like, oh, I did that technique better than the last time I filmed something. So like you think you're like ready for something when you see it off social media, like immediately, and then you go and do your process and it's like, okay, like I'm building up to it, and you realize like how rewarding the growth is.
Yes, which goes back to everything we do can either fulfill ourselves and give us more confidence and make us feel better about ourselves so that the next day that can progressively get better,
Right.
or it's like in nutrition we talk about every meal can either inhibit and fight disease or create disease.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like an inflammatory meal is just sets you up to make that decision again because mental acuity isn't there as much. Whereas an anti-inflammatory meal will, or supplement or something that's beneficial to you that you're taking in a smoothie, something like that, can absolutely help you create better content for the next 2 hours and help you make a better meal decision after you're done creating that content.
Right.
And those things, you can see how it can just exponentially grow. And that's all we're trying to do for sure, which is why you're here. Because we've always had that connection. We've always sat down at lunch and had these talks.
Oh yeah.
Crazy good stuff. It's
That
never
one time was a couple hours, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like 2.5 out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, let's chat real quick. We'll catch up. And then I remember I was sitting in my car and it was like 2.5 hours went by. I was like, wow.
I think that's probably the one and only time I spent 2.5 hours in the cab.
Yeah.
Oh man. You know, like it's one of those things like, oh, I'm here to eat and I'm here to go, you know, like
Yep.
there's always something else to do. But no, it was always great chats.
But then it also, I mean, on the same note, it allows that conversation to happen again. You know, it allows that conversation to be more normal, which is the same reason I think in terms of content, Gary Vee always talks about just create content, just do it, because a lot of people are so focused on creating that perfect content that we get that illusion of everything's good in that person's life.
Right.
Whereas if you film, you know, someone going from their car to the plane and going through airport security, you realize someone's actual ability to deal with people and their patience and their outlook on life and their ability to not get mad when someone says, yo, take out your laptop, or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
that's when you see people's real interactions, as opposed to someone just, you know, sitting in the corner seat after they've gone through all that. And now they just want to smile for a picture with the, you know, the sky in the background.
Right.
which is why I decided to really just move forward with this podcast thing, because it was funny. I ended up watching the first Joe Rogan podcast, the first one ever. I think it was like 2001. He filmed it, and
Crazy.
yeah, 18 years ago. It's insane, almost 19, and it was so bad. It was so bad, and between Gary Vee and watching that, who's now he's the number one podcast in the country on iTunes and multiple other platforms. He's pretty much like the guru of all current events. Like, everyone goes to him and looks to him. Like, it's crazy to see where he started and where he is now. And I was like, well, if I don't start, I'm not getting any closer to that.
All right.
So I might as well. And I have conversations like this with people like yourself and you and so many other people that I have in my life. And I'm lucky to be around and be able to, converse with. I have these conversations all the time. Why are we not just getting it out there for other people to have the same conversations?
Right.
So that's kind of where I got inspired to do this, which is super cool, because it all ties back in. And after I do one of these, I feel so good. Like, just, you know what I'm saying? Like, after that 2.5 hour conversation in the caf,
right,
you walked out of there and you were like, I don't even know if I ate, but like, I care less because I feel good.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like the name of my blog is called A Fire to Inspire. And I've always called that like having a fire inside yourself, just because it's like, have that edge or have that eagerness to like go do whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's to learn something new or to achieve something new. Like, just have that fire to go do it and keep that fire ignited. And then of course, like, the blog is to hopefully like inspire anyone who reads it with any of my personal experiences, whether it's like through the creative stuff I do, the lifestyle stuff that I do. It's basically a lifestyle blog. Like, there are creative stuff in it, but it's basically just to talk to whoever is reading it and be like, this happened, this is how I got here. And, hopefully this is, whatever the message is of this post is inspirational in some sort of way. But again, yeah, like, just having that fire to go and do something. And like how you said with full circle, it's just the more you do and the more you learn, like, the more you'll progress. And like, for instance, with the Joe Rogan podcast, like, after year like 2 or 3, he was probably like, no, like, what's the point of this? I'm not getting anywhere. And then he like continued, and I'm sure like each little bit of growth he got, that's what kept him motivated and inspired to push it another year. And now, like you said, he's the number one podcast. And when he first started out, who knows, maybe that was his goal, but it's hard to see that when you're just starting out.
And it's that sense of just having belief in something, right? It's like, I'm doing it because it feels right. And
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's funny. And speaking of which, one of my questions that I wanted to ask you too, and it ties in perfectly full circle with what we've been talking about in terms of having a purpose, having a fire, having a belief, and having a vision. Where do you see yourself? Where do you see your brand? Where do you see your freelancing, your time going in the next 5 years? Like, in 5 years, where do you want to be?
That's a great question. 5 years, I would say I'd like to be working for a college athletic department, doing kind of what I do now as far as creating content for college athletics, for a school and their student athletes. And I say that just because I'm also being reasonable. My ultimate goal, I think I would love to film and photograph for the Miami Heat, or even just on a freelance basis around the basketball world. However, I give myself college first, because the stuff that I do now wasn't necessarily the stuff I studied for my bachelor's degree. That was more so on the sports writing side, because I originally thought I wanted to be a sports journalist. And then
and stuff like that.
yeah, so then around 2017 is when I really got into video. I got a lot of really solid experience. It's when I started my job at Harvard. So that's what not only showed me like how much I really enjoyed it, but it really exposed me to like all the stuff that's really out there. Um, and another thing I'm trying to teach myself is to be patient with the process and to enjoy it. So I know that I can't just jump from, you know, doing a graduate assistantship and getting a master's degree to straight pros, when I kind of started in 2017.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm not going to work to those limits or to like try to get to those points.
Mm-hmm.
But I also would like to be at the college level because I feel like there's stuff there that I would want to learn before kind of jumping into the pro level and, not giving the full standards that I would want to give.
Yeah.
Meet above expectations. I know there's a lot to learn for me. The technology alone is growing continuously, and the new equipment, it's like, for me, it's beautiful. It's like, oh, what, that can do this now? And like, it's fun, but, it's a matter of being patient and like understanding, like there's a point when I'll be ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I don't want to necessarily rush it, because I not only want to be qualified, but I want to feel like I'm still learning and growing, but also making content that's suitable for that level.
Yeah. No, that's a really good way to look at it, because a lot of people would just I heard a quote last night, actually. It alluded to the fact that there's a bunch of people, I think it was Simon Sinek, there's a bunch of people, especially our age, standing in the valley, and we're looking at the peak of the mountain, and we just want to hit the summit. We forget that there's a mountain in between. And the only way you get to the top of a summit, and this is just stuff that I've learned over the years and stuff that I'm actually learning in school and through my studies right now, you can't, your body, if you just got dropped off at the top of the summit, you're dead, right? You're not going to survive. The only way you get there is by adapting to each new level, each new height, and gaining that capacity to actually breathe there. Right. Which is why I think a lot of people will get so overwhelmed when they actually get an opportunity, because they quite literally can't breathe with the opportunity. They can't calm their nervous system down and be confident in the fact that they can move forward with it. They get to that opportunity, they haven't practiced enough, they haven't put themselves in the right shoes to do the job for that, opportunity, and they quite literally cannot calm themselves down.
Right.
They can't breathe. So it's one other thing that we just have to try to make people understand, and I think we are, is there is a process, there is a growth, there is a journey that is 100% necessary. And without it, you're just throwing yourself into the fire.
Yeah, it's going to be unbalanced.
Yeah, exactly. And you may be able to, pretend like you can be there for a little while, but you will get exposed.
Right.
And that's not to say that that's a bad thing. Because like you said, you're still going to be growing when you do get to the pros, because I think you will. And you will still be learning. You'll still be growing, but you will be able to do so in a calm and, present way, where you're not just like minds rushing at 1,000, miles per hour.
Yeah, like be at the level where you can do your job and do your job well, but then learn for like the wow factor.
Yeah.
So, like not only to impress the people you work for, but to impress yourself.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's what I think like is so fascinating in learning new things. Is like you didn't even know something existed, or maybe you didn't even, or as simple as you didn't know how to do it, and then you go through that process, and now you can do it like second nature. And it's like when you think about it like that, it's really amazing. So I think like instead of like people playing video games or like watching Netflix or something. Like, I mean, we all do it, but like when you start to shift all the time you commit to that stuff into, say, maybe you're like watching a YouTube tutorial and then you execute practicing what you learned and learn how to play the guitar or something like that, I think is a little more valuable than, watching some movie that's like, oh, that wasn't any good. And then you realize you just wasted 2 hours or something.
And it's not to say Netflix is bad. It's not to say video games are bad, right? There's
Right.
probably a lesson to be learned from both.
Mm.
And you can even watch a documentary on Netflix that actually teaches you something.
Right.
Or you
Mm-hmm.
can watch a movie that gives you some sort of inspiration,
Mm-hmm.
right? But that's why I have such a tough time with like nonfiction.
Mm-hmm.
Just it to like read like a made up story that just doesn't have any context to real life. It
Mm-hmm.
it almost like bothers me because yes, it's good to just get your mind away sometimes, but I don't think that's how like evolutionarily our mind was not meant to get away by
Right.
watching some bullcrap movie that puts a vision in your mind that's not
Mm-hmm.
real.
Yeah, and I'm like, again, with video games, like I know a lot of people like that's like their escape, like
Mm-hmm.
how you were saying with basketball before, and like it's fun, like I'll do it, and it's good to take a break from whatever. But yeah, like again, it kind of gives this false picture of like this is how things go, like Call of Duty, like, oh, I can be in the army, but no, you don't come back to life if you get shot, or like same with Grand Theft Auto, you can't go and steal cars and be okay. Like it kind of teaches things that aren't necessarily ethical or moral. But if it provides that escape where, oh, I can go and do these things in a video game and it doesn't harm my real life situation, then everyone's morals and values are different, and that's okay.
Yeah, and I think there's another point to say that you shouldn't do that for 5 hours.
Right,
If you
right.
have to escape, you have to get away for
Hmm.
5 hours of your day, then the problem is much bigger than
Yes.
just going to get your mind away from it. Like you need to
Yeah.
change some serious stuff in that realistic world of yours.
Mm.
And really start looking at how you spend your time, because if you need to get away for that long, then you
All
are
right.
definitely not a happy camper, and that's not going to get you anywhere. That's not even going to allow you to play your video game at your best. So like,
Right.
why? You know what I'm saying?
Well, like, look how, at least like within my home local community, like the people who I grew up with playing basketball are like still the same people who go and play at the basketball courts. So like the kids that are younger, like you don't see like this new wave of kids coming in and like taking over the courts. And
Yeah.
I always say like it's the video games, because like, oh, like why should I go play in the heat and like force
Sweat.
myself, yeah, sweat, oh, I gotta run up and down the court
Yeah.
when I can go be LeBron James on 2K and dunk and do all this fun stuff.
Yeah.
That's how I always looked at it. I mean, whether or not it's true, I don't know, but I mean, I think you can't really say it's a coincidence that all of a sudden video games come up and
Mm-hmm.
less kids sign up for the town leagues and or even just playing for the fun of it.
Yeah, town
It's
leagues
that
are.
on social things like that.
Mm-hmm. Town leagues are definitely just plummeting all over the country. It's sickening. I drive by outdoor courts, whether I'm up in Rhode Island where I was last week or down here, never anybody. There's no one ever playing. And
Mm-hmm.
I think about it as a kid. I used to just get on my bike. I would go to a court. If there was people there, I played till everybody else left. Then I went to the next one. If there wasn't people there, I would just go to the next one. I find
Right.
one with people. Okay, I'm gonna play, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, never mind. Now, riding a bike to a basketball court is
Yeah.
definitely a no-no. Like, you're not getting on your bike. Your mom's dropping you off, or
Mm-hmm.
brother, sister, dad, uncle, whatever. I'm not. I'm not walking.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy, but um, I mean, I think that's a good place to wrap up. I'm actually going to go to yoga at 9 o'clock
Yes.
and get away. This is a cool yoga class. You would definitely like it. It's
Okay.
outside. It's
Oh, perfect.
yeah, it's
Sold
out.
already.
Yeah, it's outside, and it is. Um, they basically do like by donation.
Oh, okay.
So it's free and you can donate money if you want to. And this woman comes, she brings a speaker, she has her little headset on. And the last 3 or 4 times I've been, there was anywhere from like 40 to 60 people there.
No, that's awesome.
So it's really, really cool. And then it's right on the beach. So it's not in the sand. Yeah, it's not in the sand. It's on the turf, which is like right off the road. And basically, we do it on the turf. And then afterwards, I just go jump in the water and cool off and
Nice.
swim for a couple minutes. And then I just ride my bike back to uh, the crib. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take off. But before I do, I want to ask you where people can find you. I know you have your blog. I know you have your 2 different Instagram accounts. And I think it would be really cool if you could provide like a website or a link or something or a place for people to go check out your portraits and your mental health with athletes video, because that was really cool. I remember going to that presentation. That was
Yeah.
awesome. So
Thank you. So website wise, gcamillone.com. So it's just GCAMILLONE.com. And on there, you'll see a ton of different stuff. You see showcases of all my different work. There's different photo albums, different video categories, stuff that I've done with SIU, stuff I've done for freelance, and even like the documentaries that I've done in the past.
okay.
And yeah, like the various photo albums. There's also an art store, so you can if I have prints on there and canvases, stuff like that. My blog is also attached to that, so you can see all my blog posts.
Cool.
People are able to subscribe to that if they want. And yeah, you'll see, sometimes I like to have guest writers, so you'll see various stuff on that. As far as Instagram, Greg Camillone is the username for basically where I post my work. So if I'm working on a video with a brand or something I like that I did with SIU, I'll post it on there. It's kind of like a little portfolio.
Mhm.
If you're more interested in like my lifestyle and day-to-day stuff, GCAM123 is the other account. So it's just GCAM123. And I also post like photo and video stuff on that too, but it's more still like a way for me to post pictures of my dogs or just wherever I'm at. That's not necessarily more for the professional realm. So yeah, that's how you can find me. I do have Twitter, which is also GCAM123, but
Okay.
more so Instagram's my baby. That's what I like to use. So
I didn't know you had a kid. No.
yeah, me either. No.
Something you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
All right. So the last question: dead or alive, you can have a conversation with 5 people from any point in time. Who are they?
Oh boy. Wow. Probably say, I mean, the easy one's like Dwayne Wade, just because I like looked up to him so much as a little kid. So just to kind of like pick his brain. Huh. Gary Vee would be a guy I wouldn't mind talking to because like I feel like he's very raw.
Okay.
So like if he gets a read on you, he's not going to sugarcoat it. He's just going to tell you like how it is.
Yeah.
And I think that's like especially valuable this time of day, where some things can be like too sensitive.
Mm-hmm. That's 2. We got 3 more. Dead or alive?
I'd say another one would be my grandfather. just to like kind of hear more stories from him about his time. And like, I don't know, sometimes it's like when someone passes away, you wonder like, did I really hear everything or like get the most I could have learned from them out of it? You know, because when you're younger, you don't think to like ask questions, or you're just kind of like, oh, everyone's here, whatever.
Yeah.
Is that three?
That's three.
Oh boy. Um, I don't know if this is allowed, but I would like want to talk to my younger self and like
I love that.
like even though I'm only 23, like, you know, certain parts in high school just be like, or even just different experiences, like not to think certain ways. Like I feel like I mean, of course everyone matures and whatnot, but some of the outlooks I have now of like not being so nervous or not like overthinking about how someone else may feel or think whatever, and just kind of like just being you and doing you. I think that would have been really helpful. Just, you know, like in sports, you're like just all different, you know, different mindsets you have because you have different coaches and people telling you different things, and like I guess trying to like trust yourself more at certain times. Um,
I would definitely like to do that for myself as well.
yeah, like I feel like I was all over the place when I was a little kid. Like, just did I shoot like this, or you know, like I don't know. Fifth one, you know, something that keeps popping into my head, and I think this is why I'm having trouble with it, is what's really great about the industry that I'm in is that it's kind of like social media sports and sports video, the community, and I'm part of this Slack group, and there's over 2,000 members in it, and I can't say like anything negative about it. Like it's all positive, and like people are so nice and like willing to help each other. And I feel like when you're in athletics and you're making content, it can so easily turn into a competition. But yet people are like so willingly to showcase their work and give feedback and like, or even just compliment each other. So like, I don't have a specific individual in mind, but I would love to just learn with more of those people. Like, how did you get to this position? Um, you know, how are you able to learn all the different equipment that's out there and really be able to make the right decisions to pick the best equipment for, you know, the team and the content that you're shooting for? You know, just like what it's like at the pro level or at this type of Division 1 level, stuff like that. You know, just the whole, you know, how did you get to where you are type of stories. You know, and then like to also really investigate their creative mindset. Everyone's different, so they might go about creating their videos or their photos differently than, you know, the next person. So really just picking each other's brains in that sense, as far as what the creative process is like. Um, so yeah, you know, I guess the guy who does work for the Miami, he'd be like, hey man, you know, what's your thought process with this, or how did you get here? Where'd you go to college? You know, the whole shebang. And because people have their own journeys, so I think that's what's fascinating.
Cool. So when are you coming down to Miami again? Because like you definitely need to
I
come.
do. I
You gotta
need
come
to.
down.
I just honestly, money or not, I should just book a flight and make it work. Just because
Yeah.
I do. You
Come
and Sean
stay.
are both out there, so I have more than one reason to be out. I have so many reasons to go out there.
Definitely feel free to come stay with me, man. That would
Appreciate that.
anytime. We'll definitely do this again. That's without a doubt. Because we didn't even like scratch the surface on what we could talk about.
For sure.
We'll definitely chat soon. I definitely want to pick your brain a little bit more on some content stuff.
Okay.
Maybe even on the website stuff as I'm creating my website right now. But for everybody watching, if you haven't already and you don't know this guy, go check out his Instagrams. Go check out his website. His blog is real deal. It's good. It's not going to bore you to death at all. And I definitely highly recommend everybody watches that video he did on student athlete mental health. There's a lot of people that I know in that video, which is also really cool. Products of LaSalle College. So
Represent.
man, I appreciate you. Definitely looking forward to doing this again. Stay in contact. We'll talk soon.
Yes.
Anything else you want to say?
No, yeah, absolutely. I enjoyed being here. Thank you for having me. It's always, I feel like our talks are always wholesome, but I probably sound like a broken record, but no, it's always good chatting with each other and speaking, with similar beliefs and just, trying to make people push towards what they want to do, rather say I wish, say I am, and just go and achieve those dreams.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I couldn't agree more.
Right. Well, you enjoy yoga class, man. I wish I was joining you.
Yeah.
I'll go do my yoga downstairs.
Yeah, no, I know you're one of the reasons I always make sure I do it too, because we used to have that conversation all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you again. All right.
All right. My pleasure. Appreciate you having me.
Of course. Peace.
Please, y'all, if you were able to take anything from today's podcast, please share it with your friends, family, and anybody you know looking to live that free and limitless lifestyle. You can even leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you personally. Anything would be greatly appreciated. Also, the LT360 podcast is partnered with lots of awesome companies, and we do not partner lightly. These brands are all well approved from a moral, ethical, and product standpoint. So please feel free to do your research, but I do not think you'll be disappointed in what you find. Today's podcast is brought to you by the Limitless Theory apparel store. Limitless Theory apparel will provide you with anything from dad hats, t-shirts, tank tops, beach towels, and duffel bags with high quality gear and a big purpose. So I dare you to read the product description on any of those products. They have real deep meaning in there. You can check those out at teespring.com/Limitless Theory and use code LT10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Next, I want y'all to check out nutrimetrics.com/Limitless Theory 3. I just partnered with them. I became an official Nutrimetrics health professional with them. I'm also a consultant with the company. We are changing healthcare one professional and one patient at a time with customized wellness solutions. Check it out. Any nutrition questions, skincare analysis, custom cocktail supplementation, genetic testing, and much more can all be found on there. So go check that out. Tons of free resources. And if you'd like to get in contact with me, you can do so on there. Everything is sent directly to me. And lastly, we have our partner store for the podcast, which is, drumroll please, Groupon.com. You can save and earn on Groupon.com by shopping as a preferred customer of mine on Shop.com. Use the portal shop.com, create a free account, and register as a preferred customer of me, Dylan Foss. And if you already have an account on any of the TLS, Motives, or shop.com websites, you can tap into this. Go to Groupon.com in the search bar. You'll get 3% cash back on any purchases through Groupon.com, whether it's a basic phone case or a trip, a weekend getaway, any of the above. So check that out. If you have questions, please let me know. Always willing to help people save time and save money. And don't be afraid to check out the deals on Groupon.com and create a free preferred customer account on shop.com/Limitless Theory so you can earn and save on all of your purchases from here on out. Alrighty. Once again, this podcast is a reality for me, the guests, and yourself, the listener, because of these established partnerships. So please continue to support these awesome brands and people. Remember, we are, life is limitless. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.